Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Holy frickin' moly, I mean, talk about a rabbit hole. The further we get into this thing, the more we learn, the worse it frickin' gets. It's absolutely crazy. The more we learn about the last few decades of border and immigration policy, the clearer it becomes. It's all being done purposeful. It's one big scam, one big racket, and you're the sucker being played. This is a systematic racket to hollow out the American working class, to abuse the legal system and create a permanent, dependent underclass that props up the globalist elite's fantasy of open borders and unlimited cheap labor. And the crazy part is, as it's all unraveling before us, they're trying to make it seem like we're the bad guys. As these horrible revelations are coming, these bombshell stories, these massive bombshells, they're still playing the same emotional, manipulative games. And CNN's latest coverage of this huge DHS IRS deal that uncovers the truth of this illegal immigration racket tells you all that you need to know. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on here. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, the Trump administration just scored another massive victory. The Department of Homeland Security just secured a deal with the IRS that now allows the DHS to get access to IRS records pertaining to tax filings from illegal immigrants, which is a huge win for the Trump administration as they're attempting to crack down on illegal migration and continue engaging in mass deportation efforts. And just take a look at how CNN is covering it.
Well, the IRS just reached a data sharing deal with the Department of Homeland Security to turn over information about undocumented immigrants set for deportation. This is significant. This is something we haven't seen. What can you tell us?
It's significant, and it really flips the process on its head. The government has typically encouraged people, undocumented immigrants, to pay their taxes. In many ways, it's used to build what's called good moral character, to try to get to some legal immigration status, to create a record of themselves in the United States and show that they are contributing to the U.S. economy. Well, now these records, which typically were encouraged to try to help them toward status, could be used against them. Now, the way that this memorandum of understanding it includes is that ICE would come to IRS with names and addresses. A lot of the other information was actually redacted in these documents that were submitted in an ongoing lawsuit, so it's unclear what other information would come, but it's certainly something that changes the way that undocumented immigrants have typically operated in this country. I will note, too, that the number that they use, because we know that filings will require Social Security numbers, undocumented immigrants typically use what's known as the individual taxpayer identification number. To give you a sense of how many contributions come in through that, according to the IRS, in 2019, that was $6 billion in taxes. So again, this is certainly marking a shift in the way that the IRS would operate now with this memorandum of understanding with ICE. The administration, of course, standing by this, the Treasury saying in a statement, quote, "The basis for this, the memorandum of understanding, that is, are founded in long-standing authorities granted by Congress, which serve to protect the privacy of law-abiding Americans while streamlining the ability to pursue criminals."
They're basically trying to make the argument that it's an attack on good faith immigrants who are contributing to society. Oh, please. Can we just get it right for once? These people are not American citizens. They're not supposed to be in the country. The outrage shouldn't be surrounding their data now being shared with the proper authorities. No, I think the outrage should probably revolve around the question, why the hell was the IRS giving them some sort of tax filing legitimacy in the first place? Giving them this opportunity to present themselves as good faith citizens that were contributing to society. The whole notion is absurd in what CNN calls contributing to society. Of course, we know if you dig into the numbers, is a net loss for the American taxpayer. We just covered the numbers recently. Illegal migrants contributed roughly $50 billion in federal taxes and $96 billion in total taxes from the local tax level to federal. But again, $50 billion in federal taxes, which sounds like a big number, right? Ooh, $50 billion, ooh. But then you realize that's roughly 1% of federal tax revenues. And then it gets even worse when you learn that the illegal migration crisis has costed the American taxpayer anywhere from $150 to $400 billion based on varying studies. And then it gets even worse as we learn from Elon Musk that millions of these illegal immigrants have been quasi-legitimized in the system, given social security numbers, where they now get access to benefits like welfare and Medicaid. They're just contributing members of society. No, they are a drain on the American taxpayer. In other words, you're paying for their existence so they could make billions billions of dollars from mega corporations, multinational, globalist entities who don't want to pay American workers good wages with benefits. It's absolutely unbelievable. This idea that simply filing taxes with the IRS should shield someone from deportation is completely absurd. Imagine robbing a store and then saying you should be let off because you paid sales taxes on what you stole. That's essentially the argument that the left is running with. But the facts remain. These illegal migrants broke the law. They gamed the system. And now the demand is that they be granted citizenship? Insane! Completely insane! This IRS data isn't proof of their contribution to society, or it shouldn't be used in that manner. No, rather it should be a paper trail that should lead the relevant authorities to their deportation. And now finally that seems to be exactly what's happening. And again, rightfully so, the Trump administration, thanks to all the pressure that they've applied on the IRS, finally got the IRS to hand over the data. It's absolutely insane how deep the corruption and rot goes. And again, as we continue down this rabbit hole, it continues to get even worse. We're now learning more details about the racket that the previous administration was running with all of these fraudulent social security numbers that were being handed over to illegal migrants. Remember the story from last week where Elon Musk and his Doge team found that under the 4 years of Joe Biden's administration, non-citizen social security numbers from the first year Joe Biden took office went from roughly 200,000 a year to over 2 million in the final year of his administration. Well, now we're learning the exact system that they were running.
Doge has found that immigration gave a work authorization document to illegals just 5 months after they filed for asylum. That document allowed them to work while they waited to hear whether their asylum request had been accepted or denied. So they could work as an illegal, knowing it would take years before their case was heard. The Immigration Department mailed them a social security number. No interview, no proof of identity. Just put it in the mail. Here's your number. In 2021, Doge says 270,000 new aliens were issued social security numbers, 590,000 in 2022, 964,000 in 2023, and 2.1 million in 24, right before Biden left office. Doge also discovered that 1.3 million aliens are now receiving Medicaid. Millions received driver's licenses, some registered to vote, and Doge says some actually did vote.
They were essentially building a modern slave labor economy. Cheap, undocumented, exploitable labor being brought into the country in mass to keep wages low, to pad profit margins for major multinational corporations to give the illusion of economic strength. That's probably where most of Joe Biden's GDP numbers were coming from. You know, basically the Koch brothers strategy that Bernie Sanders used to pretend to care about.
Open borders.
Foreign aid.
That's a Koch brothers proposal. I mean, that's a right-wing proposal which says essentially there is no United States.
But it would make a lot of global poor richer, wouldn't it?
And it'd make everybody in America poor. Then you're doing away with the concept of a nation state. And I don't think there's any country in the world which believes in that. If you believe in a nation state or in a country called the United States or UK or Denmark or any other country, you have an obligation, in my view, to do everything we can to help poor people. What right-wing people in this country would love is an open border policy. Bring in all kinds of people who work for $2 or $3 an hour. That would be great for them. I don't believe in that. I think we have to raise wages in this country. I think we have to do everything that we can to create the millions of jobs.
Well, it seems as though the Democrats fully embraced that strategy. Probably because they saw the long game. Anchor babies, demographic shifts, permanent voters, single party rule. It was too good to give up. And so they gave up on the working class, and this became their new priority. Fraudulent asylum claims that they knew were going to take years to process, bringing millions upon millions of illegal workers in, and granting them work permits while they wait for their asylum claims to process. Asylum claims that of course were never going to pass the courts. But it didn't matter. Just keep trying, stay in the court system, and we'll give you a work visa for the whole time. Basically a permanent, modern-day slave labor undocumented underclass. It's actually insane to think about. A total betrayal of the Constitution. I don't know how else to say it. A systematic illegal migration racket, all meant to undermine the American worker. But now, thanks to this administration, it's all coming to light. And in the first time in decades, we've got leadership in the White House that's treating this problem with the seriousness that it deserves. No more talks of amnesty or sanctuary cities. No more hiding behind the tax code. No, just like the tariffs, more bold action restoring the rule of law and putting American citizens first. Let the deportations continue, and let this system that has betrayed the American worker be dismantled piece by piece. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.